What's up, everyone? Welcome back to BEM Explores. I just landed in New York City, and over the next 24 hours, we're gonna see how much of this incredible city. Let's get started. We're officially on the way into Manhattan right now. I've dreamed about seeing this city in person, and honestly, I can't wait to dive in and experience everything New York has to offer. Wow, this is Times Square. The energy here is absolutely unreal. There are people everywhere, giant screens in every direction, and it feels like the whole city is moving at once. I can totally see why millions of people visit this place every year. No matter where you look, there's something happening. New York definitely knows how to make a first impression. And just like that, the city noise starts to fade away. It's hard to believe this huge park sits right in the middle of Manhattan. This is exactly what I pictured when I thought about Central Park. It's peaceful, it's beautiful, and somehow it doesn't even feel like you're in a major city. This spot has been featured in so many movies and TV shows, and seeing it in person is pretty awesome. The atmosphere here is just incredible. You've got street performers, bike riders, horse carriages. There's always something going on. That's what makes New York feel so alive. One thing that surprised me about New York is how fast the scenery changes. One minute you're surrounded by trees, and the next, you're back in the middle of the city. All right, we've made it to Rockefeller Center. This is one of those places you've probably seen 100 times in movies, but seeing it in person is a whole different experience. You really don't understand how massive these buildings are until you're standing right underneath them. It honestly makes you feel tiny. This is Fifth Avenue, one of the most famous streets in America. Everywhere you look, there's something iconic, and the energy here just never slows down. This is one of my favorite things about New York. You've got these incredible historic landmarks sitting right next to some of the most modern skyscrapers in the world. The contrast is just amazing. All right, we're heading up to the top. Everyone says the view from here is one of the best in New York, so let's see if it lives up to the hype. We're almost there. Honestly, this might be the moment I've been looking forward to the most all day. Now that is incredible. Pictures don't even come close to showing how amazing this view really is. You guys have to check this out. That's the Empire State Building right behind me, and seeing it from up here is absolutely unreal. Moments like this are exactly why I love traveling. You spend years seeing places online, and then one day you're standing right there, taking it all in for yourself. All right, our next stop is Grand Central Terminal. Even if you've never been to New York, chances are you've seen this place in movies, TV shows, or photos. Wow, this place is beautiful. It feels less like a train station and more like a historic landmark. You can really feel the history here. Millions of people pass through every year, but somehow it still feels special. One thing I've noticed about New York is that every block feels different. There's always something new to discover around the next corner. All right, I've done a lot of walking already, and I'm definitely getting hungry. You can't visit New York without trying one of its famous deli sandwiches. Look at the size of this. Only in New York would a sandwich be big enough to count as 2 meals. Okay. Now I get why people talk about these sandwiches. That's seriously good. This is Bryant Park. And honestly, it feels like one of New York's best hidden escapes. Right in the middle of all the action. What I love about New York is that even with all the energy and noise, there are spots like this where you can just slow down for a minute. And right behind me is the New York Public Library. It's one of those landmarks that instantly makes you feel connected to the city's history. The city feels completely different right now. As the sun starts to drop, everything gets this amazing golden glow. This is exactly the New York you picture in your head. Busy streets, yellow cabs, and non-stop energy everywhere you look. There it is, the Empire State Building. No matter how many times you've seen it in pictures, seeing it in real life just hits differently. One of my favorite things about traveling is seeing how a city changes throughout the day. And New York definitely knows how to put on a show. Just look at that view. This is one of those moments where you stop talking for a second and just take it all in. This right here is why I wanted to spend a full day in New York. Watching the city transition into the evening is absolutely incredible. You can actually watch the city come to life all over again. One by one, the lights start turning on across the skyline. The vibe at night is completely different. It still feels busy, but somehow it feels even more exciting. All right, we're back in Times Square. And wow, this place is on a whole different level at night. I thought Times Square was impressive this morning, but at night it feels like the entire city is glowing around you. This place has so much energy. It honestly feels like the city never slows down, no matter what time it is. After all the walking today, I definitely needed a late night snack. One thing New York does really well is food. Even after a full day of exploring, it still feels like there's so much more to see. That's what makes New York so special. We've covered a lot today, from Times Square to Central Park, amazing food, incredible views, and honestly, every stop felt different from the last. If there's one thing I've learned today, it's that New York isn't just a city, it's an experience. Every corner has its own story. One thing I didn't expect is how many quieter neighborhoods there are tucked between all the famous landmarks. It gives you a totally different side of New York. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. Just this morning, I was stepping off a plane, and now I'm standing here in the middle of one of the most famous cities in the world. Moments like this are my favorite part of traveling. Sometimes it's not the big attractions, it's the little surprises you find along the way. You know, no matter how much footage you've seen of New York, standing here in person is something completely different. Before we wrap up the day, I had to come back here one more time. The energy in Times Square at night is just impossible to ignore. You could stand here for an hour and still find something new to look at. There's just so much happening everywhere. Honestly, it's hard to pick a favorite moment. The skyline views, Central Park, the food, the energy, every part of today felt unique. But before this adventure ends, there's one more view I want to show you. And here it is. One last look at New York City before we call it a day. What a view. If I had to describe New York in one word, I'd probably say unforgettable. Every neighborhood, every street, every view felt like its own adventure. What surprised me the most wasn't the famous landmarks. It was how every part of the city had its own personality and completely different vibe. Now I totally understand why millions of people visit New York every year. It's not just the landmarks, it's the feeling you get while exploring it. This may be the end of our New York adventure, but trust me, we've got a lot more destinations to explore together. Thanks for spending 24 hours in New York City with me. If you enjoyed the journey, make sure to join me for the next adventure. Until then, keep exploring. I'll see you in the next one.